Presiding officer, may we recognize Councilor Joseph Juico for the privilege hour.
Councilor Joseph Juico is recognized to deliver us the privilege hour.
Good afternoon, Mr. Presiding Officer. Do we have the slides? Well, basically, I would like to avail of the privilege hour to report to the City Council the key takeaways that we had during our recent trip with Mayor Joy Belmonte, with our head of climate change, Ms. Andrea Villaroman, and myself last September 17, wherein the mayor was invited as part of the delegation of mayors, which was held in New York City, coinciding the UN General Assembly, which the main topic was climate change. Offhand, there were multiple conferences wherein the mayor and other select mayors from all over the city were invited to participate and to listen to different speakers. On Sunday, September 17, was the opening of the Climate Change Week, wherein the theme was, "We can, we will." It is a week-long activity which coincided with the UN National Assembly, the topic of which was climate change. Speakers from the academe, climate change scientists, local chief executives from other countries, and key figures from the private sector were invited, such as Mayor Sadiq Khan of London, Governor Gavin Newsom of California, Governor Wes Moore of Maryland, Marina Silva, Minister of Climate Change in Brazil, and Mayor Ivan Aki Sawyer of Freetown, Sierra Leone. Coming from the private sector, in attendance was Nancy Mohan, Chief Sustainable Officer of Estee Lauder, Alexandra Pla, Chief Responsibility Officer of L'Oreal, Bob Moritz, Global Chairman of PWH PricewaterhouseCoopers, and from the academe, invited or speakers were Emily Schockberg, Director of Cambridge Zero, Cambridge University, Naomi Oreskes, Lead Professor of History and Science from the Harvard University, Petteri Talas, Secretary General of World Meteorological Organization, and Rose M. Mustiso, Growth Hub Research Director. The topics basically centered on our awareness to what climate change is. And it is sad to report, based on our scientists, that there has little that our world leaders have accomplished or done in addressing climate change. As a matter of fact, there is a strong sentiment coming from all those who attended in the meetings that lip service, innuendos have been going on for quite some time, and little action has been done to address climate change. As can be seen in the past couple of months, global warming has definitely is at its tipping point. As you can see all over the news, flooding in Libya, as we speak, or a couple of days ago, great flooding has been going on in New York a week or 10 days after we left, and so on. And that is the essence of what the scientists were trying to pinpoint, that there is a grim reality to what is going on now. Basically, they are saying, if we delay, we all lose. As a matter of fact, now, the increase of our temperature is at 1.1 Celsius. And what we are trying to pursue as part of the Paris Agreement, the COP28, the C40, is for us to reach within the threshold of 1.5 Celsius. But it seems like, given the current status or the actions being taken by nations, it seems like we will go over the 1.5 Celsius threshold. So with that, speakers, local chief executives such as Mayor Sadiq Khan institutionalize a program in the City of London wherein he created green zones within London. If you enter a portion of the city and your zone is way above what is allowed in terms of carbon emission, you will be taxed or you will be fined. But if you are within the zone, the allowable carbon acceptable range, then you are fine. And because of that approach, as what was mentioned by Mayor Khan, diseases, respiratory diseases in the city have dramatically dropped. From the perspective of Governor Gavin Newsom, his approach is much more draconian. Being the governor of the largest state in the United States, what he did was he filed cases against Exxon, Chevron, Shell, BP, one of, or if not the largest distributor and producers of carbon and oil producing corporations. Dinamanda niya itong mga to because based on scientific evidence, they are the main contributors of climate change and carbon emissions. Medyo historical yung pagdemanda niya nito because, in effect, because of what they are doing, they will have to pay a fine to the state of California, wherein scientifically it is proven that these corporations are culprits to the change of climate, to forest fires, and other considered man-made events that have contributed to climate change. What was interesting also in the meetings, coming from the beauty industry, wherein Nancy Mohan, Alexandra Platt, both of which are from the beauty industry, Nancy coming from Estee Lauder and Alexandra Platt coming from L'Oreal, gave importance on boardroom decisions on curbing or lessening the carbon footprint of their products. For them, investing now on helping the environment will, in effect, bring income to their corporations in the long run. It was also said, economic damage from uncontrolled climate change might essentially wipe out economic growth if this is not addressed. Meaning, at one shape, way, or form, all of big businesses would need to pivot to address climate change with the use of renewable energy and other sustainable type approaches. What was highlighted too is that it seems like the solution is local. Parang on a yearly basis, world leaders would go to the United Nations, COP28 were the ones who signed the Paris Agreement, and yet they can no longer implement. So, even si Mayor Joy, even the mayor of Milan, the mayor of London, the mayor of Freetown, nagkaroon sila ng isang boses na kayong mga gobyerno, parang it's about time na kami na ang kausapin ninyo. Yung mga corporations, NGOs, wealthy organizations, give your funding to us and we will take the lead. Everything is local. Imagine, a city like Quezon City is in need of funding, and yet you also hear it from the city of London, the city of Milan, who are considered first-class cities, and yet pati sila nangangailangan ng funding to curb climate change. So those things was an eye-opener sa amin. Aside from that, we would like to have an approach na bottom-up, meaning let the citizenry be involved when it comes to addressing climate change. Kasi napansin natin na usually it is the most vulnerable countries which are in turn the most affected by climate change. Case in point, tayo. Sa ating bansa, we experience 14 to 18 typhoons in a year, given that our country is one of the lowest when it comes to carbon emissions. Same thing with Freetown, Sierra Leone, and other African nations. They are the ones that are most affected, and yet they are the least contributors to carbon emissions. So, yung Sunday, September 17, was a very long discussion on how a collective effort is needed to address climate change. I think we started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we ended past 7 in the evening. The following day, September 18, was a closed-door meeting with C40 member countries on how to address fossil fuel in their different cities. Present were Mayor Sala of Milan, Mayor Islam of North Dhaka, Mayor Yvonne Aki Sawyer, Mayor of Freetown, Sierra Leone, Mark Watts, who is the Executive Director of C40, who will be visiting Quezon City next month, and Mayor Eric Adams of New York. We heard best practices from different cities, but obviously, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Mayor Belmonte highlighted what the city has done to address global warming and to lessen our carbon footprint. In 2021, Quezon City enhanced its local climate change action plan, which was approved by the viable city-owned buildings and facilities that is fully solarized. Before the year end, the city will be starting a project that will solarize all our buildings in our Quezon City Hall compound and 3 of our city-owned hospitals, with a total investment of 75 million pesos or $1.33 million, which will be sourced using our local funds. The next phase will extend to all our 50 public schools, and by mid-next year, about 1/3 of our public school system will be solarized. Ongoing also is the amendments of our green building code to incorporate the other green features, such as an initiative that would ensure climate resilience, provide for the use of clean construction, a material and material sustainability, promote sustainable mobility, indoor air quality, proper solid waste management, and the creation of what is popularly known as green jobs. As what I mentioned earlier, Quezon City, led by our mayor, would like us to be people-centric, bottom-up governance that would prioritize inclusivity and responsiveness to the needs of our citizens, and in consonance to addressing climate change and being net zero. Aside from that, our city is slowly transitioning when it comes to procuring electric vehicles. Some of our e-buses will be converted to, some of our buses will be converted to e-buses, and the city is also in the process of procuring electronic vehicles for the use of our local government. But again, there are financial barriers that have to be addressed, and hopefully, with the city's initiatives, we get recognized by international funds that can be downloaded to the city and help us in our common cause to address climate change. On Tuesday, September 19, was a different type of meeting wherein the Mayor Joy Belmonte, was invited to speak in the Mayor's Migration Council, or MMC. Those that were present, aside from Mayor Belmonte, were Mayor Islam of Dhaka North, Mayor Jaime Pumarejo of Colombia, Honor Mayor Martin Reeves, Mayor of Bristol, who was once a resident of Quezon City, Mayor Giuseppe Sala of Italy, and others. Unlike the different cities mentioned, people actually go to Quezon City because of climate change. How many people would like to migrate to Quezon City simply because they live in low-lying areas, typhoon season is coming, they have to leave, and they decide to move to Quezon City for a better life? So with that, the mayor has proposed or introduced programs that are already in place in Quezon City, such as our socialized housing program, our increased involvement in our health sector programs, our livelihood programs, wherein we have dedicated 360 million pesos for capital assistance, our social services programs, such as our Bahay Aruga, Bahay Kanlungan, Bahay Kalinga, our educational program, and our employment program. What was highlighted also is our urban farming program, wherein during the height of the pandemic, the Quezon City government had about 6,000 to 7,000 farmers. To date, there are already 18,000 urban farmers in Quezon City. And because of this, Quezon City is recognized worldwide. C40 would actually like to invite Mayor to speak in different forums to discuss further this type of achievement. So moving forward, what are the next steps of the city? One is to create an ordinance that focuses on green jobs, establish, as I mentioned earlier, a baseline on local migration due to climate change, incentivize households and businesses that contribute to net zero initiatives. I think that is already part and parcel of what is being crafted again with our green ordinance. Showcase further the city's green initiatives to increase awareness and in turn avail of international support and funding. Let us highlight what we have done. Let us show the world that we are leading the way here in the Philippines. Increase awareness on the debilitating effects of climate change and how it affects everyone and leaves no one. Walang pinipili tong krisis na to, may it be mayaman ka o mahirap, lahat tayo ay apektado. Direct coordination should be strengthened between national government agencies regarding climate change initiatives and programs. Let us see what DNR is doing, and let us heed their call to be part of their mission to help address climate change. But at the same time, habang wala yun, our local government should directly coordinate and should speed up the process to counter red tape. The local government should also coordinate directly with international organizations for funding. Highlighted over and over that going local is key. Tayo ang susi, ang lokal na pamahalaan. C40 example, with all the 40 nations, with all the 40 cities, pag isama-sama is equivalent to about 700 million people. So doon magsisimula sa lokal na pamahalaan. And lastly, the mayor is lobbying that for Quezon City to be part of COP28, which will be held in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai in the end of November. This will be a very interesting COP28, simply because it will be held in Dubai. It will be held in the United Arab Emirates, which is considered the #1 producer of fossil fuel. So this will be a very interesting COP28. And it will be interesting that for the first time in our COP28 meetings, local governments from different nations will be invited. They should be heard, and I think it's about time that we also act now. Yun lang po, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilor Joseph Juico. Actually, thank you for presenting thoroughly everything that you studied and learned in the summit that you attended with the mayor. And thank you also for presenting a solution towards the end of your privilege speech. Makakaasa ka, Councilor Yusef, that we will support this. And I'm really excited for the creation of a green job ordinance that will really be beneficial to the environment and to the people of Quezon City. Any questions? Okay, no further questions. Maybe recognize Councilor Candy Medina so we can end the motion for the privilege hour. Councilor Candy Medina.